Daniel chapter 9, or Daniel chapter 12 this morning. Remember, we're now dealing with Daniel's 70th week. We are in the tribulation period, which is future to us. And if you remember, starting in verse 36, we switched from Antiochus Epiphanes to the Antichrist. In verse 36, so up until verse 36, those were specific prophecies about Alexander the Great and the Ptolemy Empire of Egypt and the Seleucid Empire of Syria and all the Antiochuses and all the Cleopatras, and they were specific. Then we get to verse 36, and we realize that from 36 down to verse 45, there were no historical Greek kings or Roman Caesars or Egyptian pharaohs that matched up with all these descriptions. So we realized, as we see the abomination of desolation mentioned in Daniel, and we cross that with Matthew 24 and 25 and what Jesus says about the abomination of desolation, we realized we're not talking about that period before Christ. Christ is now telling us these verses apply to the future in front of Christ. So remember, Daniel is prophesying about 530-ish BC. The events in Daniel 11 are prophesied by Daniel about 330 down to about 165 BC. So Daniel's prophecies are 200 to 400 years in the future for him. When Christ is talking in Matthew 24 and 25, which we'll get to, he's looking back and telling them, when they ask him, when will the sign be? When will you come?